You were at this news conference yesterday.
I was. As the listeners and you and I have talked on the weekends. I participate in nightlife with Reverend Ken McCoy, and it's a ministry of presence. And we go out into North St. Louis, and the whole idea is to, do something a little bit. We're not saving the world, but it is to walk against violence, to be out there to support the communities, and we also help the folks, the homeless, the addicted, those that are kind of down on their luck while we're out there.
You go to places nobody goes.
True.
In the middle of the night.
From about 10:30 to 1:30 in the morning.
How often do you do this?
Reverend McCoy's out there usually Thursday, Friday, Saturday. I'm usually out there 1 to 2 nights of the weekend. I can't do all 3.
How many kids do you have?
I have 2.
2 kids. And you have a lovely wife.
I do.
You have a job.
Yes. You
have a film career. You have a budding radio career. You're a boxing referee. What
Minister.
else? Minister.
Pastor.
Reformed politician. While the rest of us are enjoying our Friday nights, you're walking in this heat to tell the downtrodden that there are people out there who still care for them.
Right. And not only the downtrodden, but to tell the people in these communities that where this violence is so rampant that we care. We stand with them.
Right.
And we're out there. And again, we're not stopping violence. It's a ministry of presence to be out there to let them know. So, yeah.
So under that guise of you being a concerned St. Louis citizen, you went to go see what the governor had to say.
Reverend McCoy and I went, and I heard about it. And so it was of particular interest to me. And there were 2 parts of what was going on yesterday. There was the press conference itself, okay,
right.
the politics of it all, and then there was the substance of what was said. And there were 2 different things, and I think they're both very important. First of all, as to the press conference, I think it was an unmitigated disaster for the governor. To paint a picture, it's 100 degrees out there, and we're on an asphalt parking lot. So It's about 130 on the asphalt.
Right.
In the middle of a vacant shopping center. The governor's there. It looks like Florissant again. Okay, there are so many police officers up there lined up that you get this sense that something bad was happening. It didn't look necessarily like a show of strength. It looked like Ferguson all over again. And then the protesters that were up there. And
how many protesters?
Oh, it's hard to tell, but they outnumbered people that were there to support the governor.
50, 100?
50.
Okay.
And they 2 to 1, they outnumbered, and they were very vocal. And so the governor was speaking on a it sounded like a Mr. Microphone, and so the protesters drowned him out. So anyone who was there probably could not hear. I couldn't hear what the governor was saying. I had to pick up the substance later on from reading the paper. You'd pick up bits and pieces.
Right.
But the people were very angry, and we'll talk about why. But after that, the governor started to do his one-on-one, and I tweeted a photo of this to you. You get this big police line, probably 20 police officers, shoulder to shoulder, protecting the governor, okay, so that he can do interviews, but separating him from the real people up in that community. So it had a very us versus them kind of atmosphere.
Right.
Now, the people were angry, and I don't blame them. The one thing that I see when I go out, and I think it's obvious to almost anyone, is that if you want to reduce crime, you need to increase resources, increase educational resources, economic resources, treatment. I listened to your show yesterday.
Right.
So many addicts out there. You increase resources so that people can help themselves. There's a direct correlation between people being able to help themselves and violence. So if you raise wages, if you increase jobs, crime goes down. And the folks that had come out to protest yesterday were angry and calling the governor a liar and a hypocrite because of the minimum wage. In other words, you want us to work harder. You want us to make our lives better. You want us to be self-reliant and more responsible, and yet you take $3, $4 an hour away from us. And then come in here and say, but having done that, we're going to save you, and we're going to tell you how. They were incredulous.
Now we can argue whether or not minimum wage rising or lowering helps people, helps wages, or whatever else. But you're saying they heard, hey, you're going to cut my salary $3 an hour, and you're going to make us less safe by locking us all up.
Right. And the idea was, Governor, you run on this idea of less government, less intrusive government, more local control. And all we get is Jefferson City reaching in to our community where it was decided that our minimum wage should be at a certain point, and you telling us we know better than you,
right?
And we'll fix that. There were also some protesters up there on the whole idea of the discrimination, which I've never figured that issue out.
I don't understand that, Bill.
But anyway, they were there too.
All right, so let's get to the substance of what he said he was going to do, and that is he's going to have the state highway patrol the interstates.
Yeah,
which is shocking because I didn't know the state highway patrol didn't patrol the interstates.
Right, which doesn't make any sense. They are the state highway patrol, and if you go down 44 or 55 in any direction and you get outside of St. Louis City, you will see the highway patrol. They've written me thank you notes in the form of tickets before. I get those. So it happens all over the place. So the notion that they don't do it in St. Louis doesn't make any sense, but they never, I shouldn't say they haven't. A few years ago they did one summer and sometime in the past. The problem with the governor's proposal is that he is saying, well, I'm going to bring in the highway patrol. They're going to patrol the city highways 70 and 55, so that will free up resources of the city police. Well, not true. The city hasn't patrolled the highways in years. You will never see a city police officer writing a ticket or doing anything, barring an accident on the highway. So you aren't freeing up anybody because they weren't there in the first place. Now, are you adding some officers to the highway? Sure. And that's a good thing. And again, I'm not opposed to more officers. I think officers are not the problem. Officers can be the solution.
Right.
But this really isn't freeing up city police officers because they weren't there in the first place.
Right. And also it seemed like, and Tony Messenger mentioned this an hour ago, seems like there wasn't a lot of coordination between the mayor's office and the governor's office.
No, you did not get any sense yesterday from the press conference or from what was said afterwards that they had spoken. I think Mayor Cruzen had said she'd gotten a single phone call. And this is just an opinion, but the mayor looked like she couldn't have gotten out of there fast enough yesterday. Okay.
You're the fourth person who's told me that, by the way.
I mean, again, and that's just an opinion. She didn't say that. She just had that look. Now, again, it could have been the 130 degrees, too.
Right.
No, there was not a lot of coordination. And then on the substance, it sounded like they weren't talking they were singing from the same hymnal. They were talking about different things. The mayor saying, yeah, great, patrol the highways because that's what you do.
Right.
And I'm glad you're doing it. But this isn't going to make St. Louis safer. Those drive-by, the one thing I want to talk about, we have a real problem of drive-by shootings on the highways.
Yes.
Okay. Now, and to say that bringing in the highway patrol will stop that, I think, is a misconception. These are not the DC sniper kind of things, random attacks. These are targeted shootings.
They're rolling gun battles.
Rolling gun battles is what they are. And they are targeted. They know who the people that are shooting know who they're shooting, and the people that are shooting back know who they're shooting at. They just happen to be occurring on the highways these days. They are not going to stop because the highway patrol is out there. They will go elsewhere. And so, once again, the real cause of this problem, the drugs and the guns, isn't necessarily being addressed by the highway patrol writing speeding tickets.
Right.
And the governor's got a little bit of Donald Trump in him when he says there were dozens of arrests made on the first night, and the city police chief said, well, I know of a few warnings and a couple of DWIs.
Well, there was that rolling gun battle on 44 in Webster Groves the other day.
No question, this is a problem, and that happens. And I do believe, and I'm not a police officer, don't even play one on TV, but these are targeted shootings. And they just happen, for whatever reason, to be occurring right now on the highways. They also occur on Goodfellow and on Kings Highway.
Right.
And I hope they move them off the highway because I have a friend whose windshield was blown out by one of these rolling gun battles.
Well, you've got the rolling gun battle on 44 through Webster Groves. They said the fight started in Eureka, and they had a race in the cars, and they caught up to each other in Webster Groves, and so there was a shootout rolling down Highway 44. You had the owner of Maggie O'Brien's who was shot on 55. You had that 55 corridor that gets mentioned quite
there
often.
Between Grand and that area on 55. And again, you kind of look at them, and you look at, these are hotbeds of drug activity, of gang activity.
Right.
And so these people are waiting, then following them, targeting them right there. It could be on Grand, it could be on Merrimack, it could be on any number of streets. These days, it's on the highways.
Here's what I don't understand, Jay Kanzler, and here's the out question for you. Eric Greitens, the governor, is not known to be very media friendly. Doesn't like the media, doesn't trust the media, calls the media out. Then holds a news conference in an abandoned building with a line of police officers. He could have done this any number of ways. He could have done it from Jefferson City. He could have done it in a press release. He could have let Lyda Cruzan do it. He could have done it a million different ways. Why call a news conference like this in a place where he's just pouring gasoline on the fire to people he just recently upset?
I think it was, again, opinion, but that's all we have is a misconception. It was a mistake. I think he really wants to be two different people. He wants to be a friend to business and outstate Missouri on the one hand, and you saw that during the legislatures.
Right.
But he wants to be a man of the people, and he wants to come in. And I think he truly thought he would come in and almost say, look at me, I'm a man of the people. And the people said, no, you're not. Your actions speak much louder than your words here. And it was, I don't think... Also, his work with the clergy, he met, and I know this because I was there, he met with a lot of the city clergy, and I think had really made some promises and made some commitments to them that obviously, based on what they were yelling at him yesterday, appear to have been broken. I think his feelings were hurt after this one, and I think he really thought he could come in and smooth things over, and it completely backfired.
Has he walked with you on these? He has.
Yes, and I applaud him for it. He was out there walking those neighborhoods with Reverend McCoy and I.
During the campaign, before the campaign, when he was a Democrat?
After he had been elected.
He had been elected.
So, again, it wasn't just a campaign promise. And I think that's it. He wants to be a man of the people. The problem is he has not learned how to walk the tightrope, which is how do I appease outstate Missouri, how do I appease the conservative element, and address the people that I live with, because he lives in the city of St. Louis, and he is finding it very difficult to be a governor in the state of Missouri.
There you go. Jay Kanzler, as always, you're always welcome here. Anything else?
No, that's all.
All right. How's anything else in the boxing circles, the movie circles?
Everything is good. It's just that summertime. We're in the midst of it. The young kids out there boxing, good for them. Put down the guns, pick up the gloves. Movies, you and I, our film just got into a film festival in New York City.
Oh, really? Which one?
It's called the New York Chain Film Festival, I think is the name of it. I get the thing.
There are so many.
Right. There are 4,000 film festivals around the world. But this one's a nice film festival in New York City, so I was going to let you know. And
weren't we going to reach out to somebody for the Tribeca Film Festival?
We're going to reach out to
David Blaustein.
David Blaustein, and we never did.
Yeah, that's
Next
your fault.
Year. That's my fault.
Yeah.
You're the producer.
That is true. The movie's called Talk Radio. I still haven't seen it because you won't let me see it yet. It won the St. Louis Film Festival, right? It
won in the festival Best Local Short, absolutely.
Best Local Short.
And it's been in a number of festivals, and the one in New York City I'm real excited about because I'm going to go out there and see some old friends in New York City.
Any chance that this is going to show up on Netflix or Amazon?
Don't know. That's, the world of... television and cable, it changes so quickly.
There should be a documentary or a film shorts channel.
A number of the
cool
programs,
idea,
absolutely. A number of the stations have once in a while short programs, but just a station dedicated to shorts would be fantastic.
Right, because short attention span.
Absolutely.
Because the movie's only
11 minutes.
11 minutes,
which is about average for a short film.
Right. Yeah, that's the way to do it. Jay Kanzler, ladies and gentlemen, always.